for me to
Yeah.
turn it on?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
It's all set.
All right, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. First Coach Malzahn press conference of the season. We'll open it up for opening comments from Coach, and then we'll take questions. If you do have a question, please make a notation in the chat portion of the Zoom. All right, Coach, whenever you're ready.
Okay, well, first of all, we're excited. It's game week. It's been a long time coming to get to this point. Playing a very good Kentucky Wildcat team. Really, when you look at them, offensively last year they were one of the best rushing teams in all of college football, and to be able to do that in this league says a lot. They have 4 returning starters up front that I think are very talented and really a strength of their team. Defensively, very impressed. They got most of their guys back on defense also. They're very well coached. They know their answers. They know their assignments. They're impressive to watch on film. And then overall, just what Coach Stoops has done with that program, the consistency he's had and the games he's won, says a lot. As far as us goes, the depth chart, you see we have a whole lot more numbers than we normally do. We got 3 deep at most positions. That was by design because of COVID and because, like we've been talking about, having to create quality depth. Position change that you've seen, Jeremiah Wright is moving from the offensive line to defensive line just to give us some more depth. He played that in high school, and we think he can help us there. We got 2 guys that are going to be out because of injuries, and that's O.C. Brothers and Romello Height. They had shoulder procedures in the off season, so they're recovering. We're hoping we'll get those guys back both before the season ends. As far as COVID update, we had 1 positive 2 weeks ago, and I believe it's 6 players that have been out for 14 days that we get back today, but they've been out for 14 days because of close contact. But everybody should be back today. We do have 2 more tests before we play the game, so hopefully that'll go well. And with that being said, I really want to thank our medical team, our administration, for everything they've done up to this point throughout the summer, testing our players, the protocols, and everything that has went with it. They've done an outstanding job to get us to this point that we can actually play a game with that. And then just overall, I'm really excited about this year's team. I mean, we have all kinds of new faces out there. I believe we got 13 new starters, and so I'm really excited to see, watch this team grow. Really feel that, if we stay healthy, we'll have a chance to improve each game. And, of course, with 10 SEC games, that's going to be very, very important. The teams that improve throughout the year are going to have a chance. So just really looking forward to watching our guys play. I'm excited, that our stadium with our fans is going to be a little bit new, but you look at it and the majority of our fans are going to be students. And our students are the best in the country. So I really expect those guys to bring their A game and make that thing loud as possible and a good home field advantage. All right, questions?
First one today is from J.G. Tate.
Hey, Gus. Jalen Simpson is a starter at cornerback, kind of snuck up on me. Tell me what he had done in camp to kind of push himself over the other guys there.
Yeah, he really came on. He's got some natural football instincts, and they put him at corner right off the bat, and you could tell that each day he improved, and he can flat out run. He's got really good ball skills, and he's a good tackler. So he really stepped up, and he made an early impression, and he kept that momentum going throughout fall camp.
Next is Ryan Hennessy.
Coach, you talked a little bit about that home field advantage. How important is it for you guys to be at home, and what's the message to the fans, how important they are, even though it's going to be a little bit less fans, to make some noise and against a tough Kentucky team?
When the schedule first came out, the first thing that stood out to me is we actually were at home the very first game, which I think is important with all this new normal. And so, we're really looking at that to be an advantage for us. When it's a regular game day and we've got 90,000 fans, there's no better place in all of college football as far as atmosphere than here. But the fact that the majority of our fans are going to be students and our student section is always one of the best, if not the best in the country. I know they're going to have their A game, and they'll be loud as possible to help us win. So that, along with getting crowd noise piped in, I think it's going to be a pretty good atmosphere that's pretty loud.
Next is Tom Green.
Gus, Kevin had mentioned to us a couple weeks ago that Colby Wooden had been one of those guys that had taken one of the biggest jumps to earn that starting defensive tackle spot. Just what did he do to really impress and earn that job this season?
Well, he's been consistent. He's been consistent. He's been impressive throughout fall camp. Playing the run, rushing the passer, and just being consistent. When we recruited him, we had high expectations for him, and so we think he's in a good spot right now.
Next is Philip Marshall.
Guys, notice that Anthony and Eli are listed at the same position. How much will they play together on the field at the same time?
Yeah, I think you'll see a little bit of both. Sometimes one will be on the sidelines, sometimes they'll both be on the field. I think the big thing, for Chad is, he's going to find a way to put his best players in the field and move them around in matchups. And so there'll be a lot more moving around this year than there has been in the past. But, both those guys are veteran guys that I know our offensive staff looks at as both of them being starters, and not just starters, but both of them have big play ability, and they're both experienced.
Next is Mark Murphy. All right, we'll skip ahead and we'll go to Justin Ferguson.
Hey guys, looking on the depth chart, I don't see a Harold Joyner on there. What kind of plans y'all have for him in the offense this year? I know y'all have talked about in the past of moving him around.
Yeah, well, and I think it's very similar to that. Harold did some good things during fall camp, and he'll have a role, but it'll be a little bit more specific role as we go. And here's the deal too. I mean, we feel like we got 5 guys at the running back position that can all help. He is one of those guys that does have experience, and he's made some big plays in games. So you'll still see Harold Joyner out there some too.
Next is Steve Moulton.
Hey, Coach. Appreciate you doing this. A lot of talk about the Kentucky offensive line in particular. I'm wondering what you've seen and what you expect out of that O-line at Kentucky, Coach.
Well, they're talented. They're big, strong guys. Like I said earlier, the fact that they're one of the best rushing teams in all of college football in this league, that's really what jumps out to you. And if you look at both their offense and defensive line, that's what some of their strengths. They got most of their guys back. And of course, we lost most of our guys, offensive front and defensive front. So that's going to be a challenge. Our guys are aware of that. That'll be a big factor. So, but I'm real impressed with their offensive line.
And Coach, if you could also speak to players transferring from one SEC school to another, should those players be allowed to play against a school that could potentially happen this weekend with Joey Gatewood?
Yeah, I think it's just a new day in college football. I mean, with everything changing and people moving from team to team. So I just think it's a new day, and I think there'll be more and more of that in the future.
Next is Mark Murphy.
Are you guys planning to play both guys at left tackle and also on the defensive front? Or are some of those guys possibly going to play both end and tackle in game one?
Yeah, there's some flexibility really on both offense and defensive lines. Our coaching staff has moved people around, and of course that was by design. All the what ifs, what if this guy goes down? What if this guy's out because of COVID? So there's been all kinds of mixing and matching, and I expect us to play quite a few players the first game. As far as left tackle, we'll just have to see how that goes. And there's something to be said for this week too. Now, this is a big week for a lot of guys as far as even evaluation. Looking at our two punters. I mean, they're in a competition. It says or, and we've not decided who the first one's going to be. So there's a lot of positions I think like that. We'll give guys a chance to have a chance to be on the field this first game.
Next question is from Jordan Hill.
Gus, now that we're in game week, just how pleased have you been with how this team has handled all the COVID stuff and also the uncertainty that we would ever get to this week? And what's the excitement you've seen from the guys knowing that they're finally in game week?
Yeah, it's been a very interesting journey, a long journey. There was a lot of weeks that you look back and say, "Oh, I don't know how we can play," and then the next week you say, "Well, okay, I think we got a chance to play." And just the excitement, it's been completely different for our players this week. Even Sunday's practice, it was different. You could feel the urgency. I know for myself, it feels like game week, and we finally got that point, and that's kind of what I was thanking our medical staff and our administration for helping us get here. They did an outstanding job, and they put our players first as far as the health is concerned, and we worked ourselves through this. Our guys have been very responsible with the COVID etiquette and the way they've handled themselves, and that's going to be a big key moving forward too. We're constantly talking to our guys that, being responsible and what the new normal looks like, and but our guys are really bought into that, and I know they're just excited that we're playing an opponent, and we just happen to be playing one of the more veteran opponents, all in our league. And if you really look at it, without having spring practice, I always said the veteran teams early, they should have an advantage because they've got the experience and all that, and so we'll have to find a way to overcome that.
Next is Jeff Spiegel.
There you go. Sorry about that. Gus, Bo Nix recently said in an interview with Marty Smith that, through the ups and downs of last season, there were points where he lost his confidence, he lost his swag, as he said. When did you kind of see that come back last season? And what's the most important area do you think he's improved from year one to year two?
Well, I'm going to say this starting out. I don't care if it's Bo Nix being a true freshman or any quarterback that went through that schedule last year. All right, that'd have been tough on anybody. But I was unbelievably impressed with how he handled everything, the pressures and all that. And then, of course, you look at the Iron Bowl, which, that's the most pressure I think that probably a quarterback can be in a rivalry game. And the way that he played. And then helped us win the game right there, being a true freshman at home, and he's a different player right now. He should be. I mean, he's got a year of experience. He's one of our leaders. If you saw that, we had 4 team leaders that our players voted on, and he got the second most votes. So that just tells you he's a team leader now. He's got a lot of confidence. I know him and Coach Morris, have worked extremely hard together. He's excited. Coach Morris is trying to build this thing around his strengths too. So I think he's in a real good spot to lead us. I think you'll see him definitely improve. But at the same time, you look at that schedule, I'd like to see a lot of these other teams play that schedule and see how their quarterback does. So, but I like where he's at.
Next is Nathan King.
Hey, Gus. Hey, kind of in that same vein, talking about Bo, Mark Stoops said yesterday that's probably the number one thing his defense is keyed in on is Bo and his ability to create big plays. How much are you guys planning on, while the offensive line is retooling and everything like that, leaning on him to create a lot for this offense in the first game of the season?
Well, like I said, we're going to play to his strengths. And, you look at last year, I mean, he created a lot of things on his own, and with the scrambles and all that, his decision-making, he is a run threat too. So we're going to play to his strengths and rely on him a lot.
Thank you.
Next is Christina Chambers.
Hey, Coach, I wanted to know your thoughts. The SEC released a new technology or sent out a press release about the new technology with contact tracing. And I guess the players are going to wear like little bands. Just what your thoughts are on that, and what do you think about it?
Yeah, that's what the NFL has been doing, and I've heard nothing but good things about it. So I think it's probably a positive. I mean, the thing about this whole year is it's going to be a learning experience week by week. But the fact that the NFL has used it and used it successfully, I think it's probably a positive. But we'll learn week to week.
A have a follow-up from Jay Tate.
Yeah, Gus, question about Brodarius. I mean, he gets second team preseason All SEC, which is surprising to me considering he hadn't started a game and he wasn't like some superstar 5-star recruit. Talk about, I know you value him very highly, but why do other coaches value him so highly? How has his name kind of gotten out there?
Yeah, potential, I think, more than anything. And, he's always been like that number, 6 or 7 guy the last 2 years. And, I just think that he's one of our leaders up front. And I think he's set for a big time year. He's very, very talented. He's probably as strong as any lineman we've had come through here in a long time. And I just think he's set up for a really good year. And I know we'll be relying a lot on him on the field and his leadership.
Next is Jason Caldwell.
Gus, I guess first, what's Colby Wooden? What's his weight now? He's listed at 268, but I think he had gotten a little bit bigger than that. And then second, what allows him to be able to hold the point, hold the point there at tackle, not being a 300-pound guy?
Yeah, he's bigger than that. I don't know exactly how much bigger, but he weighs a little more than that. His quickness, he's strong. He's got instincts, and when you move inside, that's a different world. And I just know that he's got really good instincts and got a lot of reps this fall camp. And I think he'll have the ability to improve each game.
Next is Tom Green.
Gus, with Grant Loy listed as the backup to Bo, just how important is it to have a backup quarterback with his experience, just given kind of the circumstances and uncertainty of this season?
I think is very important. He's a guy that started at the college level. That's Chad recruited him at Arkansas. That was the relationship, and he's came here and he's really done a good job with his teammates. Good job with the offense. We've let all the guys other than Bo go live all 3 scrimmages. I think that was big for him. He can create things on his own. He's got a very live arm, and so we're glad we have him.
Next is Haley Sutton.
Hey Gus, I know last week you took time to get all of the players registered to vote, and with today being National Voter Registrations Day, I know this year there's been much more of an emphasis on those off the field kind of situations. So I was just curious your thoughts on how important it's been for you to make sure that your players are aware of, I guess, real world problems going on outside of football.
Yeah, that was real important. We had the educational piece that I've talked about, all summer, and we had speakers, and it was really good. We had some team bonding situations, and now, it was really our action plan. Of course, the Unity T-shirts, which, our guys were real excited about. We got great response. I believe that the students are going to have one in their chair for the game Saturday. I'm very excited about that. That's one thing. And then action plan, registering to vote, getting everyone registered to vote to use their influence. And I know our team is real excited about that. And that was very important, last week.
Next is Justin Ferguson.
I guess you mentioned them a little bit in your opening statement, but what stands out to you particularly about this Kentucky defense and all those veterans they got coming back this year?
They make you earn it. You look at the big play cut up from last year, and there's not a whole lot of big explosive pass plays over the top. They do a great job of keeping everything in front of them. Like I said, they know their answers. If they get hurt on something, they'll adjust really quick, and you can tell they've been in that system a long time. And the fact they've got most of their guys back, that like I said, I think early on the teams that have experience not going through spring, I think that they have an advantage. And so this is a very good Kentucky team that's well coached, that have most of their guys back, and got their guys that call the offense and defense, special teams back. So we're going to have to earn it, and going to have to execute. This will be a game about execution, especially on offense, because they don't make a lot of mistakes.
Next is Mark Murphy.
Can you talk about your true freshmen having a big impact on this depth chart you released today, and also in particular 3 freshman wide receivers on it?
Yeah, I think I said a couple weeks ago that this group of freshmen, has a chance to be as good as we've had come through, or at least since I've been here, and I think that is still accurate statement. We'll see once the games get going on, but up to this point, it's a very talented group that just needs game time experience, and I expect that group to improve each game. But there's a lot of guys you'll see on the field.
And the 3 freshman wide receivers.
Very talented.
Got a follow-up from Jay Tate.
Yeah, Gus, a question about Kalen Newton. Obviously, he's got a lot of pressure on him being the younger brother of Cam, and he had to deal with that. He's had to deal with the position change, getting into a new program. Just talk about the way he's handled the challenges ahead of him and gotten on this depth chart.
Yeah, first of all, you can tell he's a veteran guy, and he understands the game. He's a tough guy too, not just receiver-wise. He's done a good job and caught our attention, but special teams-wise too. So, like I said, you'll see him on special teams and then, at receiver too. So we're glad we have him. We think he provides leadership, and he's a tough guy too. So I'm excited that he's here with us.
All right, Coach, that's all we have for today. Appreciate your time.
Okay, thank you.